Okay, I'm still working on the right wing here, getting ready to attach the push rod to the servo. I've also decided to make a change to how I'm doing this. I've decided, instead of using the quick connect that I've already attached to the servo, I'm going to make it a Z-bend. The reason is that several-fold. It is possible for the quick connect to come loose, although, you know, 999 times out of 1,000 it won't, because it's going to have Loctite on it. There's always the possibility that comes loose. A Z-bend never comes loose, and with the Clevis and the nut and the threads, the metal Clevis especially, I wouldn't use a plastic, but the metal Clevis, this will give me all the maneuverability I need for the wing. So we're going to get started here. Let me make sure you understand all the stuff I've got. I got the battery, the receiver, the telemetry module, all here because we're going to have to center the servo up. I've got a flat-bladed screwdriver to open up the metal Clevis. I've got a small little clamp to clamp the aileron neutral. I've got a Sharpie marker, but it's a gold Sharpie marker, because if you use a black one on the black wire, you'll never see it. Obviously, I've got my push rod with a nut on it, and I've got the Clevis that has the blue tubing on it as a keeper. I've got a drill bit. I've got actually two drill bits. This is a 5/64 drill bit, and the reason it's 5/64 is if you I'll turn on my little gauge here, measure it, and it says 1.8 actually, let's see, that's 1.75, okay, millimeters. If I change that over to inches, it does say it's 5/64, but it's probably slightly less than 5/64, because if you measure the this is 1.75 millimeters undersized, and the drill bit is actually let's see, it's yeah, 1.9. So the drill bit's slightly oversized, the wire slightly undersized, and it'll make it a good fit. Okay, so and the other reason I'm doing this is because making Z-bends is difficult by pairs of pliers. But I do own a Great Plains Z-bending tool. I hadn't mentioned it before. They're $20 from Tower Hobbies, but it's made by Great Plains, and what it is, it's a specially made clamp that you just clamp like that and you get a Z-bend. I've tried to do Z-bends with two pairs of pliers, and it's terrible. So this, if you're going to do a Z-bend, get one of these for 20 bucks. In fact, let me show you how easy it is. I'm going to take the end of the wire here. Now we're going to cut this thing off. This thing is extra long, and we're going to cut it off probably right in here somewhere. Okay, so you've probably got 2 inches or more to make a Z-bend test. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a Z-bend. The thing to do is to get the wire, and you can do this anyway. You can also make the Z-bend in any location you want, because the wire will slip through, and then you can do the Z-bend. So I'm going to do the Z-bend close to the end of the wire, okay, and all I'm going to do is squeeze. And it makes a very nice, perfect, where'd it go? There it is, a very nice, perfect Z-bend. Okay. Now, this wire is tough, but it's not impossible to cut. What you need is a good strong pair of lineman's pliers, something that has a good vise type of cutter on it. And so I'm going to cut this off. And when you do this, you got to make sure that you hold on to the long end of the wire, point the short end of the wire down and away, so if it pops off, it doesn't pop off at you. Okay, I've cut it, and actually you can see that it's still attached, and you can just break it off. So that was my test Z-bend. All right. Now, the next thing, let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and remove the quick connect, and the little plastic thing I put on the bottom, I just got a flat bladed screwdriver to pry that plastic thing off, and that's actually should be easier to get off than it was to put on. And so there it is. I'll actually put it back in its little case that it came in, so I don't lose it in case I want to use it for another airplane. The other thing to do is, or the next thing to do is to drill it out. I'm going to use this 5/64 drill bit that has a knurled knob on the end of it. Makes it just a little bit easier. I'm going to drill out the last hole, okay, while the thing is out here. So the last hole in the arm, the topmost hole in the arm, is where the Z-bend is going to go. So I'm just going to drill that out with the finger drill. Okay. And I'm going to test the wire, just make sure it goes in okay. And it does. Nice slip fit. Actually, it's a little tight at the end because of the of where it was cut. So now we'll. I made myself a little checklist over here, so I'm going to go through my checklist to make sure I've done everything. Okay, remove quick connect, measure the wire. Hole. Okay, we need to add the metal clevis next, and here's the wire, here's the metal clevis. So what I'm going to do is screw the nut on the wire all the way down to the bottom of the threads. I'm going to screw the metal clevis on. It's very fine thread, so don't get it cross-threaded, and it should screw on very easily. And I'm going to screw the metal clevis until it's half, so that half the threads are sticking out and half the threads are down. Okay, so you got the threaded part of the rod sticking through the metal clevis, and maybe just a couple of more turns, and so the roughly halfway. Okay. So you got the threads cut out, then you go ahead and move the nut to the metal clevis to lock that in place. Alright, so now the nut is up against the metal clevis. It's just finger tight at this point because we got several things to do here, and this is for fine-tuning after we get the airplane all together. So I'm going to take my flat-bladed screwdriver, put it in the metal clevis, and you can see one side is where the pin is, the other side is where the pin is welded. So I'm going to put the clevis up to the control horn, use the flat-bladed screwdriver to open it up, and put it in the top hole. And push that through. Come on. Alright, the top hole is probably slightly undersized. Try that again. I don't want to drill it out, but I do want to there we go. Alright. There we go. Okay, so it took a little bit of effort, but this can be reasonably tight because it the servo is fairly strong. It won't mind it being slightly off like that. Okay, so got the and I'm going to turn on the radio, let it warm up, and it's on. The light up here is glowing, means it's transmitting. And I'm going to take the switch and turn it on, and the light is on the receiver and the telemetry module. Then that is going to make sure that the, if you can watch here, the arm is moving back and forth. That means that the arm is centered. I'll leave that on for a second. Now what I'm going to do is take the gold Sharpie, because that way you can see it. If you do black, you won't be able to see it. And I'm going to put the push rod over the last hole of the arm and measure and then mark exactly where that arm is with the gold Sharpie. Okay, so now we got to do the Z-bend and cut it off. Okay, we're done with the radio. I'll go ahead and turn the switch off of the receiver. Okay, the receiver's off. I'm going to actually unplug the Aileron servo lead. We don't need the radio anymore, so I'm going to turn it off. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the Clevis off. Okay. Because I don't like to work over the wing. If I drop a tool, that wouldn't be good. Okay. So now that I've got my, you can probably see the little gold mark there. That's where the hole is. So I'm going to use my, I'm going to use this side of the Z-bend tool, because let me show you. You can see where the gold mark is. It's right there. So I'm going to slide the gold mark forward, and until that is where the you can see where the gold mark is, and it's if you look carefully, the gold mark is right there where that first pinch point is. Okay, and that will measure let's see. Actually, yeah, I'm going to turn that a little bit so that the Z-bend is down from the clevis. That won't matter because a quarter turn on the clevis doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to be particular how I do this. Okay. And here we go. One of the reasons I don't like Z-bends is because once you do this, and if you did it wrong, it's the wire is ruined, and you'd have to get another one. Here we go. And you just squeeze it good and tight, and out comes your Z-bend right where the gold mark was. Okay. Now I am I think the best way for this to work is for the Z-bend to go down into the servo arm. And so I'm going to cut the Z-bend off with my lineman's pliers. And I'm going to leave probably I'm probably going to leave like a 1/4 inch for the Z-bend to stick out. And the Z-bend should now, you put it vertically down into the first hole, and the Z-bend is now in place. Uh-oh. I did that wrong, didn't I? Did I not put the clamp on? Dang. Alright, I forgot to put the clamp on here. Unfortunately, I didn't cut off enough, so I'm going to have to do another Z-bend. That's what happens. Mistakes are correctable. So now I've got the clamp on the aileron to make sure it's neutral. And that was on my checklist and I missed it. So I'm going to put the, I have to do this again. Sorry for the mistake, but mistakes happen. Alright, I'm going to hook the aileron servo back up. I turn the radio on, and I'm going to turn the receiver on. And you saw the arm move. That's all I need. And let's see. Okay. Clevis went in easier that time, and now the aileron is neutralized. So that's where the hole is. Everything is neutral, and I'm going to take this off. Turn the radio off. Turn that off. I'm going to check my checklist. Okay. There it is. Clamp aileron neutral. Just missed it. That's why you should always follow checklists. Alright. Alright, I'm going to use my lineman's pliers to straighten out this Z-bend. kick the camera. Okay, so I'm going to hold the Z-bend here, and I'm going to get two pair of needle nose. And in this case, I'm going to use a stronger pair of needle nose than what I originally planned here. And we'll fix the Z-bend. I got a nice big pair of I was lucky. Sometimes lucky helps. And the Z-bend could have been off where I couldn't. Alright. Okay, so I'm just going to do the Z-bend from here and then cut that off. These wires are brittle. Okay, I've got spare. I'm going to use this, but the problem is the Z-bend broke, and that's not good. So I've got a spare wire that I can use, and we'll do that again. Okay, not a complete disaster because I can get another Pushrod. I think I've got one, I just got to find it. But I'm going to continue with the left wing to finish up everything you do. So I'm going to start back over with the clamp on the aileron, making sure it's centered. I've already centered the, turned on the radio, centered this servo, and so I'm going to mark it with my gold marker. Okay, so that's centered, that's good. I'm going to take the Clevis back off. And we're going to, let's see here. That mark wasn't clear enough for me, so I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to do a better job of marking. Centered, centered. Okay. Okay. Take the Clevis back off. What you heard was the clamp coming off, but I've already made my mark. I'm going to put the clamp back on so that when we test the Z-bend it'll be fine. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Get the Z-bend in. There's right where the mark is. And Z-bend. Alright. And cut. I'm going to remove the clamp here because I'm going to put the Z-bend in first. Okay, the memory card on the camera ran out of memory, so it stopped and I didn't realize it, so I'm back to where I left off. I was going to put the Z-bend in first into the servo arm, and the clamp is off, so I can get the move this aileron around while I put this on, because it's now fixed at one end. Okay, there we go. So the clevis is now on. The Z-bend is in place. I can tell right away that the aileron is slightly off here, so I'm going to turn on the radio, plug in the receiver, and plug the servo extension into the white left aileron servo extension. Get the colors matched up on the wires right. Turn on the switch. Okay, get that set right.
3.9 volts.
Okay. Telling me my fright pack is low. Okay. So I'm probably going to need to move the servo. Now that the servo is fixed, I need to move the clevis probably 2 or 3 turns inward, because this is down. The aileron is down a little bit to the reference point there. I'm going to take the clevis off and turn it in a few turns, 2 or 3. Okay. Now I'm going to do this by doing half turns. So 1 half turn, 2 half turns. I'm going to go with 3 half turns. So I've turned the clevis 3 half turns. I'm going to put the aileron back on. So the clevis is back on the aileron. Okay, that looks perfect across there. So I'll show you that this is nice and even across there. Okay, and the servo horn is still connected. And then the last thing you want to do is screw the nut back up to the clevis. Okay. Now that will be one of the Loctite, when I do all the Loctite at once, that'll be one of the Loctite things to do. So I can turn the radio off, or take the receiver off, I mean, first. Turn the radio off, and I'll tell you what, let me turn the receiver back on. and show you that the aileron is moving right. And by the way, let's see if it's moving in the right direction. This is the where am I here? This is the right aileron. Uh-oh, that's not right. This is the right aileron. Hold on, well, let me just go ahead and fix it. This is the right wing. Yes, it is the right wing, so I plugged this into the wrong channel. I'm going to plug it into the right aileron. Okay. And it's still centered. I mean, that doesn't change the center of the servo, because the servo centers no matter what. But I want to turn this over and make sure that if I move the stick to the right, that aileron goes up. Okay, and that's what it should do in a right turn. So I think we're good. We can turn this off. Turn the radio off. And we've got the wing adjusted, so I can turn the camera off. Thank you very much. So I thought I would add a bit of lessons learned on the mistake I just made with the wing. And there were two mistakes actually. The first mistake was I was rushing. Not sure why I was rushing, but you know, I was rushing. Maybe the camera had something to do with it. I don't know. So don't rush, take your time. Got all the time in the world. Second mistake was not following my checklist. I had a nice checklist here, and I had everything written down. I do that before I do more complicated things like this, and I wasn't following my checklist, and that caused the error, which was cutting the Z-bend in the wrong place. And it's one of the reasons I don't like Z-bends, because once you make a mistake, you got to get a new one. And but all mistakes are fixable, and so I'll get a new wire and fix the other wing.